There are ideas that shape your destiny, and then there are ideas the world quietly forgets. In the teachings of Dr. Joseph Murphy lies a powerful wealth principle that many overlook, yet it holds the key to effortless abundance. Today, we uncover Murphy's forgotten wealth, trick a simple but transformative shift in thought that can unlock financial flow, reprogram your subconscious, and align you with the riches already waiting for you. Wealth is a state of consciousness created by your subconscious mind. This single idea from Dr. Joseph Murphy changes everything about how we approach money, success, and abundance in our lives. Most people chase wealth as if it were something external, something to hunt down through endless hours of labor, risky investments, or lucky breaks. They believe that if they just work harder, save more aggressively, or find the right opportunity, riches will finally arrive. But Murphy reveals a deeper truth. Wealth does not begin in your bank account, your job title, or your possessions. It begins as a mental condition, a way of thinking and feeling that your subconscious mind accepts and then expresses in your outer world. Your subconscious mind operates like a vast, fertile garden or a universal bank that never argues, never questions, and never refuses what you deposit into it through your repeated thoughts, beliefs, and dominant feelings. Whatever idea you impress upon it with conviction, whether of lack or of plenty, it magnifies and brings forth as your reality. If you constantly dwell on limitation, bills piling up, or the fear that there is never enough, your subconscious accepts that as the truth and arranges circumstances, people, and events to confirm it. You attract more scarcity because that is the consciousness you are living in. On the other hand, when you shift to a consciousness of wealth, when you genuinely feel and believe that supply is flowing freely and abundantly, the same subconscious power begins to multiply opportunities, ideas, and resources around you. Think about how this works in everyday terms. A person who walks through life with a poverty consciousness might look at a beautiful opportunity and immediately think, I could never afford that, or people like me don't get chances like this. Those thoughts are not neutral. They are seeds planted deep into the subconscious. Over time, the mind reinforces them by highlighting obstacles, creating hesitation, and even sabotaging potential success. The individual feels blocked, unlucky, or unworthy, and the outer world mirrors that inner state perfectly. Murphy often pointed out that your financial condition, your body, your relationships, and your entire environment are exact reflections of the idea you hold of yourself in your deeper mind. Change that inner idea, and the outer expression must change accordingly. This is why simply working harder at a job you dislike rarely leads to true wealth for most people. They may earn a paycheck, but they remain trapped in a cycle of effort and strain because their underlying consciousness is one of struggle and limitation. Dr. Murphy taught that trying to accumulate wealth solely through the sweat of your brow is one sure way to become the richest person in the graveyard. The body and mind wear out under constant pressure, while the real source of riches, the infinite creative power within the subconscious, stays untapped. Instead of forcing outcomes through endless toil, you learn to impress the idea of effortless supply upon your inner mind. You align yourself with the flow of divine abundance that is always available, rather than fighting against a self-created sense of lack. Consider how consciousness shapes perception itself. Two people can face the exact same economic conditions, yet one sees only obstacles while the other sees hidden possibilities. The difference lies entirely in their state of mind. The person living in a wealth consciousness notices trends, ideas, and connections that others overlook because their subconscious is primed to recognize and attract prosperity. They feel confident, expectant, and open to good fortune. Their thoughts naturally turn toward expansion, creativity, and generous exchange. As a result, doors open, helpful people appear, and innovative solutions emerge almost as if by magic. This is not luck or coincidence. It is the law of the subconscious at work. What you impress within, you express without. Murphy emphasized that wealth is ultimately a subconscious conviction. It is not about repeating empty words like, I am a millionaire, if your dominant feeling contradicts them. Such mechanical affirmations can backfire for beginners because the feeling of lack remains stronger, and the subconscious follows the stronger impression. The key is to build the consciousness gradually and convincingly. You grow into wealth awareness by steadily feeding your mind ideas of abundance, circulation, and divine supply until those ideas become your natural way of thinking and feeling. You cultivate a mental atmosphere where prosperity feels normal, expected, and already present. Imagine your subconscious as a faithful servant that only knows how to say yes to whatever you accept as true. It does not distinguish between what you call real and what you vividly imagine and emotionally accept. This is why visualization combined with feeling is so powerful. When you mentally dwell in the state of having more than enough, when you feel the relief, the freedom, the joy of financial ease, your subconscious begins to organize your life to match that inner experience. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach start aligning because you are no longer vibrating at the frequency of scarcity. You have shifted your entire being into the frequency of abundance. Many people unknowingly maintain a poverty consciousness through their habitual language and attitudes. They complain about the cost of living, envy those who have more, or secretly believe that money is dirty or unspiritual. These attitudes poison the well of their own supply. Murphy taught that money itself is neutral, a medium of exchange that reflects your inner convictions. Condemn money and you push it away. Love it as a tool for good, as a means to express creativity and help others, and it flows toward you naturally. The feeling of wealth produces wealth, just as the feeling of health produces health. Your dominant mood and expectation determine what the subconscious magnifies and returns to you multiplied. This principle explains why some individuals seem to attract money effortlessly, while others struggle no matter how hard they try. The effortless ones have developed a wealth consciousness, often without realizing the mechanics behind it. They expect good things. They assume supply is always available. They rejoice in the success of others rather than resenting it, knowing that there is infinite plenty for everyone. Their subconscious, conditioned to abundance, works day and night to bring corresponding experiences. In contrast, the strugglers live in a contracted state of mind where limitation feels more real than possibility. Until that inner state shifts, outer conditions remain stuck. Dr. Murphy shared numerous examples of people who transformed their financial lives once they understood this truth. A person burdened by debt began to quiet the mind each evening and repeat simple, believable statements that carried no inner contradiction. Instead of forcing, "I am rich," against the background of worry, they used phrases that built gradual acceptance, such as recognizing that wealth ideas were growing within them daily. Over time, new ideas emerged, better opportunities appeared, and the debt dissolved as income increased. The change was not magical in the superstitious sense. It was the logical outcome of reprogramming the subconscious with a new dominant conviction. Your subconscious mind is connected to the infinite intelligence of the universe. When you impress it with thoughts of wealth as a natural flowing state, you open yourself to guidance, inspiration, and creative ideas that you could never force through conscious effort alone. Solutions to problems arrive unexpectedly. Right actions become clear. People and circumstances line up in ways that serve your highest good. This is because the subconscious does not operate in isolation. It draws upon universal resources, bringing forth what matches your inner acceptance. Wealth, therefore, becomes an inside-out process rather than an outside-in chase. Building this consciousness requires consistency and emotional involvement. You cannot plant the seed of abundance one day and then flood the garden with doubts the next. Repetition with feeling is essential. Quiet moments before sleep are particularly effective because the conscious mind relaxes and the subconscious becomes highly receptive. In those peaceful states, you can impress ideas of circulation, surplus, and joyful prosperity. You feel the truth of them. You accept them as your new normal. Gradually, the old patterns of fear and lack lose their grip, and a new mental atmosphere takes hold. It is important to understand that this is not about denying current realities or pretending problems do not exist. Murphy was practical. He acknowledged that if you are facing financial difficulty, forcing grandiose claims can create inner conflict. The wiser approach is to choose statements and feelings that your mind can accept without resistance. Affirm growth, progress, and daily improvement. Recognize that divine supply is unfolding in perfect ways. Celebrate small signs of increase. Each positive acceptance strengthens the new consciousness until it becomes dominant. Then the outer world catches up in sometimes dramatic fashion. Wealth as a state of consciousness also frees you from the trap of comparing yourself to others. When you know that abundance is an inner condition, you stop measuring your worth by someone else's bank balance. You realize that everyone has access to the same infinite source. The only difference is the degree to which each person opens their mind to it. Jealousy and envy dissolve because you understand that another person's success does not diminish your own supply. In fact, rejoicing in others' good fortune reinforces your own wealth consciousness and accelerates your own demonstrations. This mindset transforms your relationship with work and service as well. Instead of viewing your job as a necessary evil to pay bills, you see it as a channel through which your unique talents and ideas can flow. When your consciousness is one of abundance, you bring creativity, enthusiasm, and value to whatever you do. Employers notice. Clients respond. New avenues open. You are no longer working from a place of desperation, but from a place of contribution and confidence. The subconscious supports this by inspiring better ways to serve and prosper simultaneously. Even in challenging economic times, those who maintain a wealth consciousness fare differently. They do not panic or contract their thinking. They continue to expect guidance and new opportunities. History shows countless examples of individuals who rose during downturns because their inner state remained expansive. While others saw only loss, they saw potential for reinvention. Their subconscious delivered innovative ideas and timely assistance precisely because their dominant conviction was one of ongoing supply rather than temporary lack. The beauty of this principle is its universality. It applies regardless of your starting point, your education, or your past mistakes. The subconscious does not hold grudges or keep score of previous failures. It responds only to your present acceptance and feeling. You can begin right now, in this moment, to cultivate a new state of consciousness. Start by monitoring your inner dialogue. Notice when thoughts of limitation arise and gently redirect them toward ideas of plenty. Feel gratitude for the supply you already have, no matter how small it seems. Gratitude itself is a powerful impress upon the subconscious that opens the door to more. As you persist, you will notice subtle shifts. A sense of calm replaces anxiety about money. Ideas come more freely. Synchronicities increase. What once felt impossible begins to feel natural. This is the subconscious doing its perfect work, magnifying the seeds you have planted. Wealth stops being a distant goal and becomes a living reality unfolding from within. You move through life with the quiet assurance that supply is always circulating, always available, always responsive to your inner state. Dr. Joseph Murphy's message was clear and empowering. You do not have to struggle or beg for riches. You simply need to claim your rightful consciousness of wealth. The infinite intelligence within you is ready and willing to express abundance through you once you provide the proper mental equivalent. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are the currency you exchange with this greater power. Spend them wisely on ideas of prosperity, and the returns will be beyond what you can currently imagine. The process is ongoing and deeply personal. Each individual must discover the affirmations, visualizations, and feelings that resonate most strongly without creating opposition. Some find peace in contemplating divine circulation. Others thrive by mentally rehearsing generous living and joyful receiving. What matters is the genuine acceptance and the emotional tone that accompanies it. When the feeling of wealth becomes your habitual state, the outer manifestation follows as surely as day follows night. This understanding liberates you from outdated notions that wealth must come through suffering or that only a lucky few deserve it. Everyone has the same access to this inner power. The only requirement is the willingness to change your mental diet, to feed your subconscious thoughts that uplift, expand, and affirm limitless good. As you do so, you align yourself with the creative forces of the universe that have always been waiting for your recognition. Wealth is a state of consciousness created by your subconscious mind, and once you truly live in that state, everything else in your financial world begins to rearrange itself accordingly. The old patterns fade, new pathways emerge, and abundance becomes not just possible but inevitable. This is the forgotten foundation that Dr. Murphy wanted every person to rediscover and apply. It is available to you now, waiting only for your conscious decision to impress it deeply and live from it fully. Use peaceful, believable affirmations to impress the idea of abundance without inner resistance. This approach stands as one of the most practical and effective ways Dr. Joseph Murphy taught for reprogramming the subconscious mind toward wealth and prosperity. Many people fail in their attempts at mental work because they choose affirmations that feel too far-fetched or clash with their current emotional state. When you declare something like, "I am a multimillionaire," while deep down you feel anxious about paying next month's bills, an immediate inner argument begins. The conscious mind raises doubts, the body tenses, and the subconscious receives a mixed signal. Instead of acceptance, you create friction and reinforce the very lack you wish to overcome. Murphy understood this dynamic clearly and recommended starting with statements that your mind can accept peacefully without triggering opposition or skepticism. Peaceful affirmations carry a gentle, soothing quality. They do not force a sudden leap into an unbelievable reality. Rather, they build gradually, like adding small, believable layers that your deeper mind can embrace comfortably. For example, instead of jumping to an extreme claim, you might begin with something simple and true feeling such as, "I am open to new ideas of abundance flowing into my life," or "Every day, in every way, my supply is increasing in peaceful ways." These kinds of statements do not provoke the inner critic. They feel reasonable. They align with a sense of natural progress and quiet expectation. Because they generate little or no resistance, the subconscious mind accepts them more readily and begins to act upon them without delay. The power lies in the absence of inner conflict. Your subconscious does not reason or debate like the conscious mind. It simply accepts what you impress upon it with feeling and repetition. When an affirmation creates tension or disbelief, part of your mental energy fights against it, weakening the impression. Peaceful affirmations bypass this struggle. They allow you to relax into the idea. You speak or think them with a sense of calm conviction, perhaps even with a quiet smile or a feeling of relief. That relaxed emotional tone is what makes the impression stick. Murphy often compared the subconscious to fertile soil. You do not throw seeds violently onto hard ground. You plant them gently so they can take root easily and grow without disturbance. Believability is equally crucial. An affirmation must feel at least somewhat possible to your current state of mind, especially when you are just beginning this practice. If the gap between your present reality and the statement is too wide, resistance naturally arises. A person deeply in debt might find it difficult to believe I have unlimited wealth right now, but they can more easily accept I am becoming more prosperous with each passing day, or new channels of supply are opening for me in expected and unexpected ways. These believable steps create a bridge. Each small acceptance strengthens your faith, widens your mental acceptance, and allows you to move to slightly stronger statements over time. You grow into the consciousness of abundance rather than trying to force it in one dramatic leap. Murphy shared many real-life accounts where this gentle method produced remarkable results. One man facing serious financial pressure was given a simple, peaceful phrase to repeat quietly several times a day. "God is the source of my supply, and all my needs are met in divine order." He did not shout it or try to feel ecstatic about it. He repeated it in a relaxed manner, especially before sleep when the conscious mind quiets down and the subconscious becomes highly receptive. There was no fierce battle with doubt because the statement felt spiritually true and emotionally soothing. Within weeks, unexpected opportunities appeared, old debts began to resolve, and a sense of calm confidence replaced his previous anxiety. The key was the peaceful, believable nature of the affirmation combined with consistent, relaxed repetition. Another important element is choosing words that evoke harmony and ease rather than strain. Phrases that include ideas of peace, flow, circulation, and natural increase tend to work best. You might use statements like, "Money flows to me freely and joyfully in perfect ways," or, "I am grateful for the increasing abundance that comes to me with perfect timing." Notice how these avoid harsh commands or unrealistic jumps. They suggest movement and positive change without demanding that you instantly feel like a millionaire. The subconscious responds beautifully to such gentle suggestions because they align with its natural desire to express greater good through you. There is no inner fight, only quiet agreement and cooperation. To impress these ideas effectively, Murphy advised combining the affirmations with a relaxed mental attitude. Sit or lie down comfortably. Close your eyes if possible, and breathe slowly and deeply. Let the body become still and the mind quiet. Then, in this peaceful state, repeat your chosen affirmation slowly, with feeling but without force. Let the words sink in like soft rain nourishing the soil. Some people find it helpful to repeat the phrase for 5 to 10 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day, particularly in the morning upon waking and at night before sleep. During these periods, the subconscious is most impressionable. The conscious mind is less active, so the affirmations reach deeper levels without interference. Visualization can support this process when done in the same peaceful manner. Instead of forcing dramatic scenes of luxury, create simple, believable mental pictures that feel comforting. Imagine receiving an unexpected check in the mail and feeling quietly grateful. Picture yourself handling your finances with ease and confidence. See money circulating freely in your life like a gentle river. Keep the images calm and natural, not exaggerated. The combination of peaceful words and serene mental imagery strengthens the impression without creating resistance. Your subconscious accepts the feeling of these experiences and begins to orchestrate circumstances that match them. It is also wise to monitor your general mental atmosphere throughout the day. Even the best affirmations lose power if you spend the rest of your time complaining about bills, fearing the future, or envying others. Peaceful impressing requires consistency in your dominant mood. When negative thoughts arise, do not fight them aggressively, simply notice them and gently return to a peaceful, believable statement of abundance. Over time, the new impressions become stronger than the old patterns of lack. The subconscious begins to shift its focus, and outer conditions start reflecting the change. Murphy emphasized that this method works for everyone because it respects the natural laws of the mind. The subconscious does not respond well to coercion or desperation. It thrives on harmony, faith, and quiet expectancy. When you use affirmations that feel peaceful and believable, you create an inner environment of acceptance. There is no mental tug of war. Energy flows constructively instead of being wasted in conflict. This is why many who tried forceful positive thinking gave up in frustration, while those who adopted Murphy's gentle approach often experienced steady, sometimes surprising improvements in their financial affairs. Consider how children learn best. They absorb ideas more easily when presented in a calm, encouraging way rather than through shouting or pressure. Your subconscious has a similar childlike quality in its receptivity. It accepts suggestions that feel safe and natural. Peaceful affirmations honor this quality. They build trust between your conscious intention and your deeper mind. As that trust grows, the affirmations take deeper root and manifestations begin to appear more readily. You might notice small increases, first an unexpected refund, a better opportunity at work, a helpful idea that saves money. Each small success reinforces your belief, making larger demonstrations possible without resistance. Another advantage of this technique is its ability to dissolve hidden blocks. Many people carry subconscious fears about money, perhaps from childhood experiences or past failures. Forceful affirmations can actually stir these fears and make them stronger temporarily. Gentle, peaceful ones work around the blocks at first, gradually loosening them through consistent, non-threatening repetition. As the new idea of abundance becomes more familiar and believable, the old fears lose their emotional charge. The mind naturally lets go of what no longer serves it, creating space for greater prosperity to flow. You can personalize your affirmations to make them even more effective and believable for your unique situation. Start by identifying where you currently feel some openness to improvement. If complete financial freedom feels too distant, begin with statements focused on steady progress, increased creativity, or better opportunities. Use words that resonate with your own sense of peace, perhaps incorporating spiritual language if that feels natural to you, or keeping it practical and grounded. The important thing is that the affirmation should produce a feeling of relief or quiet confidence when you say it, rather than doubt or strain. Test a few different phrasings and notice which ones allow your body and mind to relax into them. Repetition in a relaxed state remains the golden key. Murphy often recommended repeating a short, powerful phrase like "wealth flows to me now" in peaceful and unexpected ways many times until it feels natural and almost automatic. You do not need to count or force a specific number. The goal is to saturate the subconscious with the idea until it accepts it as true. Because the affirmations are peaceful and believable, this saturation happens smoothly and pleasantly. There is enjoyment in the process rather than struggle, which itself becomes a positive feedback loop. This method also encourages gratitude and appreciation, which further reduce resistance. When you affirm abundance peacefully, you naturally begin to notice and appreciate the supply you already have, no matter how small it seems at first. Gratitude itself is a peaceful, believable state that opens the mind to more. Murphy taught that feeling thankful for current blessings while quietly expecting increase creates a powerful combination. It shifts your focus from lack to circulation, making the subconscious more receptive to new ideas of prosperity. Over weeks and months of consistent practice, the effects compound. What once felt like wishful thinking becomes a quiet inner knowing. The peaceful affirmations have done their work by impressing the idea of abundance deeply without the friction that causes many efforts to fail. New opportunities appear, creative solutions emerge. A sense of ease replaces previous financial anxiety. You begin to move through life with the quiet expectation that supply is always available, and your outer world starts confirming that expectation in tangible ways. The beauty of using peaceful, believable affirmations lies in its accessibility. You do not need special skills, advanced education, or perfect faith from the beginning. You only need the willingness to choose words and feelings that do not fight against your present mental state. Start where you are. Choose one or two gentle statements that feel comfortable. Repeat them regularly in moments of quiet relaxation. Let them sink in without pressure or urgency. Trust the process as Murphy did, knowing that the subconscious mind is always listening and always responding to what you impress upon it with calm conviction. As you continue, you will discover that this gentle approach not only brings financial improvements, but also greater overall peace of mind. The absence of inner resistance spills over into other areas of life. Relationships improve. Health often benefits. A general sense of well-being grows because you are no longer at war with yourself mentally. You are cooperating with the natural laws of your own mind, allowing abundance to unfold in harmonious ways. Many who follow this path report that the changes feel almost effortless once the initial habit is established. Because the affirmations were chosen to avoid resistance, the subconscious works smoothly and consistently in the background. Ideas come during quiet moments. Right actions become clear. Helpful people appear at the right time. All of this flows from the peaceful impression you have been making day after day. The technique honors both the power of the subconscious and the practical reality of human emotions and beliefs. Dr. Joseph Murphy's recommendation to use peaceful, believable affirmations offers a kind, intelligent path to wealth consciousness. It avoids the common pitfalls of overambitious claims that create self-sabotage. Instead, it builds a solid foundation of acceptance, layer by layer, until the idea of abundance feels completely natural and true. Your subconscious mind then expresses this new conviction in your daily experience, bringing forth the riches, opportunities, and freedom you desire. This is the forgotten wealth trick in action, gentle, persistent, and remarkably effective when applied with understanding and patience. Repeat the truth. God is the source of my supply, and feel divine surplus circulating in your life. This simple yet profound statement forms the heart of one of Dr. Joseph Murphy's most effective techniques for awakening abundance. When you repeat these words with genuine feeling, you are not merely reciting a phrase. You are impressing upon your subconscious mind the fundamental truth that your supply does not depend on the economy, your job, other people, or external conditions. It flows directly from the infinite intelligence and creative power within you, which Murphy identified with the presence of God. By turning to this inner source repeatedly, you shift your entire consciousness away from limitation and into the recognition of limitless divine provision. The phrase, God is the source of my supply, carries deep spiritual and psychological power because it removes the burden of personal striving and places reliance on something greater than your conscious efforts. Most people live with the unconscious belief that money comes only from hard work, luck, or specific channels like a salary or business. When those channels seem blocked or insufficient, fear and anxiety arise. Murphy taught that such fear signals a lack of trust in the true source. By affirming that God, or the infinite life principle within you, is the origin of all supply, you begin to dissolve that fear. You remind yourself that the same creative intelligence that sustains the universe can effortlessly meet your needs in countless ways, many of which your conscious mind cannot yet imagine. Repeating this truth should be done in a calm, knowing manner rather than with desperate intensity. Murphy often instructed people to take the statement into quiet moments, especially before sleep and upon waking, when the subconscious is most receptive. As you say or think the words, allow yourself to feel a sense of relief and quiet confidence. Feel that divine surplus is already circulating, that there is always more than enough, and that every need is being met at every moment of time and point of space. This feeling is what gives the affirmation its real power. The subconscious does not respond to empty words. It responds to the emotional conviction and the living feeling you pour into them. One of the most beautiful aspects of this practice is the idea of divine surplus. It is not just enough to scrape by. Murphy emphasized that God's riches include abundance with plenty left over. When you feel this surplus circulating in your life, you move from a consciousness of lack or bare minimum to one of overflowing good. You begin to expect not only that your bills will be paid, but that unexpected blessings, opportunities, and increases will appear. This expectation itself becomes a magnet because your subconscious mind works to externalize whatever you accept as true in your deeper feeling nature. Consider how this affirmation changes your relationship with money and circumstances. Instead of anxiously watching bank balances or worrying about the future, you turn inward and repeat the truth. You acknowledge that the money you currently have, however little it may seem, is a symbol of the infinite riches of God. You bless it and release any sense of tightness around it. As you do this, the subconscious begins to multiply and circulate that supply in new and surprising ways. Murphy shared accounts of individuals who, facing mounting debts, began repeating the statement faithfully. They stopped fighting the situation mentally and instead trusted the inner source. In time, creative ideas emerged, helpful people appeared, or unexpected income arrived exactly when needed, often leaving them with a surplus they had not anticipated. The repetition builds a new mental habit. Each time you affirm God as the source of my supply, you are writing the idea of God's wealth into your subconscious mind. You are conditioning it to reject thoughts of scarcity and to accept the reality of ceaseless circulation. Murphy frequently used expanded versions of this prayer to make the impression even stronger. One powerful form he recommended was, I am now writing in my subconscious mind the idea of God's wealth. God is the source of my supply, and all my needs are met at every moment of time and point of space. God's wealth flows freely, joyously, and ceaselessly into my experience, and I give thanks for God's riches forever circulating in my experience. This longer version combines recognition of the source, acceptance of immediate fulfillment of needs, the joyful flow of wealth, and an attitude of gratitude. Gratitude is especially important because it raises your emotional state and signals to the subconscious that you are already in a receptive, abundant mode. When you feel thankful for the supply that is circulating now, even before larger demonstrations appear, you accelerate the process. The subconscious loves feelings of joy and thanks. It multiplies whatever you emotionally endorse. Repeating this truth also helps dissolve hidden subconscious blocks. Many people carry old beliefs that money is hard to get, that they are unworthy of abundance, or that spiritual and material success cannot coexist. By steadily affirming that God is the source, you gently override those limiting ideas. You align yourself with the spiritual truth that abundance is your divine birthright. You are not begging for favors from a distant deity, but claiming the presence of infinite supply that already dwells within you. This inner alignment brings peace, and peace itself is a fertile ground for prosperity to grow. In practical daily life, you can use this affirmation whenever anxiety about finances arises. Instead of spiraling into worry, pause, take a few deep breaths, and quietly repeat the statement several times. Feel the truth of it. Sense that a divine surplus is already on its way in perfect timing and in perfect ways. Many who followed Murphy's guidance reported that this simple habit broke the cycle of financial stress. Opportunities they had overlooked became visible. Solutions appeared that they could not have planned consciously. The subconscious, now impressed with the idea of divine supply, worked tirelessly behind the scenes to bring corresponding experiences. Murphy taught that this principle applies to every form of supply, not only money. God is the source of energy, vitality, creative ideas, inspiration, love, peace, beauty, right action, and wealth. When you affirm the statement in its broader sense, you open yourself to holistic abundance. You may receive a brilliant business idea, renewed health and energy that allows you to work more effectively, or harmonious relationships that support your success. All of these are expressions of the same infinite source flowing through you. Feeling the circulation is key. Do not think of supply as something static that you hoard. Visualize or sense it as a river of divine riches moving freely into your life, and then outward through wise and generous use. When you give with joy, whether time, talent, or money, you keep the channel open. Murphy often reminded his listeners that hoarding from fear closes the flow, while generous, trusting circulation keeps it vibrant and ever increasing. By feeling this dynamic movement, you impress upon the subconscious the pattern of ceaseless abundance rather than contraction and lack. Consistency and repetition matters more than dramatic emotional highs. Some days you may feel strong faith while saying the words. Other days doubt may try to intrude. On those quieter days, simply return to the statement with gentle persistence. Speak it as a quiet knowing rather than forceful declaration. Over weeks and months, the repeated truth sinks deeper until it becomes your dominant conviction. Once that happens, outer conditions must shift to match the new inner state. Demonstrations of supply often come in unexpected forms. A debt forgiven, a new client arriving, a raise or promotion, an inheritance, or an innovative idea that generates income. This practice also cultivates a profound sense of security. When you truly accept that God is the source, you stop depending entirely on any single external channel. If one job or opportunity changes, you remain undisturbed because you know infinite channels exist. The subconscious, conditioned by your repeated affirmations, opens new doors precisely when needed. Murphy recounted stories of business people who used this affirmation during difficult economic periods and not only survived but thrived, often finding better positions or creating successful ventures they had never considered before. Repeating God is the source of my supply while feeling divine surplus also transforms your self-image. You begin to see yourself as a channel for infinite good rather than a struggling individual fighting for limited resources. This elevated self-concept releases creative energies that were previously blocked by worry. Ideas flow more freely. Confidence grows. You approach daily tasks with a lighter heart and sharper mind because the underlying anxiety has been replaced by trust in the inner source. Many who adopted this habit noticed improvements beyond finances. Relationships became more harmonious as financial pressure eased. Health often benefited from reduced stress. A general sense of well-being emerged because the mind was no longer divided between fear and faith. The simple act of returning again and again to the central truth created a stable, peaceful mental atmosphere from which all good things could more easily manifest. Dr. Joseph Murphy presented this as a universal law accessible to everyone, regardless of background or current situation. You do not need perfect belief at the start. You only need the willingness to repeat the truth and to feel, as best you can, the reality of divine circulation. Start small if necessary. Affirm that today's needs are met. Give thanks for the supply already present. Gradually expand your feeling to include surplus and joyful flow. Each repetition strengthens the impression. Each moment of peaceful feeling deepens the conditioning of your subconscious mind. As you persist, the affirmation becomes more than words. It becomes a living experience. You begin to notice synchronicities and timely assistance that confirm the truth you have been impressing. Money or resources arrive in surprising ways. Challenges resolve with greater ease. The feeling of divine surplus grows stronger until it feels completely natural. At that point, living in abundance is no longer something you strive for. It is the natural expression of your transformed consciousness. This technique is practical, spiritual, and deeply empowering. It frees you from the illusion that you must control every detail of your financial life through sheer willpower. Instead, you cooperate with the infinite intelligence within by repeatedly affirming its presence as your source and by feeling its generous circulation in your experience. The subconscious mind, once impressed with this truth, goes to work organizing conditions, inspiring actions, and attracting opportunities that bring the divine supply into visible form. Through steady repetition and heartfelt feeling, God is the source of my supply, becomes the foundation of a new financial reality filled with ease, surplus, and ongoing circulation of good. The more faithfully you return to this central truth, the more completely your outer world reflects the abundant life that is your true inheritance.